Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Talmbout Rasslin, right here on the Black Phoenix Network. I'm your host, the Untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. And I know it's a little different. It's Monday, not Saturday, not Sunday, but hey, still episode 49. This Saturday, episode 50, we have arrived at the moment. Episode 50 this Saturday. It will be this Saturday. There will be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Absolutely will be this Saturday. We will be covering SummerSlam. I still have it. There's some stuff I'm still trying to work out. But at the very least, it will be this Saturday, noon Saturday. We will be covering SummerSlam, at least SummerSlam Night 1. And because of that, it was very imperative to get this episode out, because I don't want to have to try to cover Redemption, which was last night. I don't want to have to try to cover that on the 50th episode. I want to kind of focus on other stuff and SummerSlam, my predictions, and just running down the card as a whole. And some of the build, I hadn't really been that up on the build, but we want to run down the card, so we'll do that. And I don't even know if I'm sure they'll have night 1 and night 2 already separated by then, so we'll see. But that's not why we're here today. Today, again, it's imperative, because I couldn't get it out Saturday, because I didn't get it out Sunday. This is your official Talmbout Rasslin Redemption review. All right, Redemption, very interesting show from the perspective of the build and everything about it. But as I knew, randomly booked will still deliver, because it always does. So we're going to talk about that today. First and foremost, though, before we get into that, of course, you know we got to take care of the things. If you're new here, make sure that you like, you share, you subscribe. If you're new watching, like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment, leave a rating, leave a review if you're watching on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, rather. Again, make sure that you subscribe here on Substack, here on YouTube, wherever it is that you're watching. Make sure that you give a like and a follow. All those things help to, help the algorithm do what the algorithm does. So we're trying to grow. We're on the road. We're already at 50 episodes coming this Saturday. Still trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the year. I just got a couple more this morning, so that's absolutely great. I don't know where you came from, but welcome. And we're gonna try to get some more in here, okay? Because big things are coming, big things on the horizon. We're definitely gonna be growing the platform as the time goes on. So that being said, again, thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in, even on this Monday. Because again, sometimes it's random. Sometimes life happens, and you kind of got to get to it when you can get to it, all right? Once I wasn't able to give like a prediction show, I knew it was going to have to be a review show. So I'm just going to review Redemption. I'm not really even going to get into the stuff from Dynamite or Collision, because it matters, but that'll just take us too long. And you see, I'm in the car, so I'm not even in my studio. So we're just going to cover the card as it was. Plus, so much of the card wasn't even announced, I think. Ultimately, I think it was. There was a pre-show match that I don't think was announced prior to, or that I didn't know was announced prior to. So on the buy-in, they did have a match. So I am going to pull up the card so that I know everything that happened. And if you see me yawn, just ignore it. Act like you didn't see it. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. All in all, Redemption was, again, another fantastic AEW pay-per-view. I don't know how they managed to do this over. Nobody does pay-per-view like AEW. Point blank and period. Sorry. They don't. Any of the criticisms that people try to have on a week-to-week basis about AEW, when it comes to pay-per-view, untouchable. Untouchable. touchable. Period. Now they're long. They're a marathon. But if you're paying however much for it, don't you want more bang for your buck? I do. And I definitely get it, even if I don't make it through all the way, because that happens. That happens a lot. But you know, I'm not complaining. So let's talk about this show again. Fantastic show, top to bottom. Okay, so let's not do that again. Fantastic show, top to bottom. Some very interesting. It's a good thing I didn't do predictions, because I would have got a lot of these wrong. A lot of them wrong. Some very interesting decisions made. Some interesting developments heading into All In. A couple of matches made now. I mean, this was, for it to be almost an inconsequential pay-per-view. It's like Elimination Chamber will be sometimes in the past, where it's like, it's just something we're doing in between Mania, Rumble and Mania, to kind of just get us there over the hump. Now, Elimination Chamber has kind of become a little more important, because it's kind of part 2 to the championship picture, where the Rumble gets you one winner for the titles, or 2 considered men and women's. The Elimination Chamber determines the other side of that. So there's that. So in theory, it seems a tad bit inconsequential, but a lot of things happen here that I did not expect to see happen. So, and it really changes some trajectories a little bit. So let's get into it. We opened up on the, like I said, on the buy-in. There was only one match on the buy-in, which again I kind of figured, because it was such a randomly booked show, right? So we got the Conglomeration taking on the Lethal Twist with the Demand on commentary. Really good showing by Lethal Twist. They've definitely been getting a bit of a push, definitely been getting a bit of some elevation. Ricochet has been teasing Lethal Twist joining the Demand, which I don't think is actually going to happen, but it's an interesting prospect, at least, right? I think it is. Again, very good showing by Lethal Twist, but of course Conglomeration gets the win, retains the Trios Championship, and I think this Wednesday on Dynamite they will defend them against the Demand. I don't think the Demand wins, but I do think the Demand should eventually have those titles, because they need something else now. And, you know, yeah. So eventually they should do that. But a hell of a way to start. Crowd was hot. Hot for this. And then we did the entrances for the ladder match, which I think was really smart. Save a little bit of time. Not much, whatever, but save a little bit of time. And we got our 6-way ladder match for the #1 contendership for the international title. Again, random, because this was booked. Like, we didn't get the last 2 competitors until Saturday at Collision. Sidebar. I know I said it. I did not go to Nashville for Dynamite / Collision this time. I did not. Because I think I have made the decision that instead of, my budget wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. It would have been really short notice. I hadn't found a ticket yet. So ultimately I decided not to go. However, in place of what I decided to do, I think I am going, I'm almost certain, to All Out in Chicago. I think that's going to be the thing that I do. I had a really great time last time. This one isn't going to be the same, obviously, but it'll be close enough. And And it's going to be on a Saturday. I think last time it was on a Sunday. So it's going to be on a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to head down to Chicago, attend All Out. Head on back. So looking forward to that. That's the move. Did not do Nashville this time, so I don't have pictures or stories or anything like that. But September for All Out. Gotta get it right. September for All Out. See you there, Chicago. Moving on. Anyway, back to what we were saying. So we got our entrances for the. What happened? How the hell I get to what the hell? How did I get there? Alright, whatever. Somehow I got to Moxley. Like they want me to be on Moxley. So yeah, we got to get all our entrances for the ladder match. And listen, I didn't make predictions. I looked at this ladder match and the people in it, and I was like, I don't really know who wins here, because it's for a shot against Kyle Fletcher for the international, for the international title, and I don't see him losing it anytime soon. So, I'm not sure when that would happen. Because Kyle just won that title, so I don't think he's gonna lose it anytime soon. So whoever wins is just winning to lose. I guess it's a way to put on a very exciting match. So, okay, cool. Because again, this entire pay-per-view is randomly booked. AF. So I didn't have a favorite. And that's because I did not realize that Speedball was from Montreal for some reason. I think I knew he was from Canada, and maybe just, I don't know. So I didn't have a pick there. I was like, well, maybe I guess Jack Perry, because he's kind of the vet in this match, which is also a strange thing to think of, that he's the veteran, seemingly, of the people in the match. El Clone, Commander, Nick Wayne, Speedball, Jack Perry, and who's the sixth? What's the sixth? Beast Mortos. Yeah. So it's like, well, it has to be Jack Perry, right? But who else? It's gonna be a babyface, I'm sure. So that narrowed it down to like Jack Perry, Speedball, and Commander. And then Speedball's music hit, the crowd explodes. And I go, oh, so that's your winner. Now that makes sense. Because, of course, you're going to open up with the hometown win. Duh. And that's exactly what happened. However, in this ladder match, absolute insanity. Of course, you knew it was going to be. You knew it was going to be insanity from the jump. And it absolutely was from the jump. You got El Clone being El Clone. El Clone's a very interesting wrestler. The way he moves, the things he does are a different kind of fluid than what you are looking for or what you're expecting. He does a lot of like leg trips and wrap-ups, and he wrestles like nobody else in any kind of space. That's a very interesting thing that he does there. So El Clone doing El Clone stuff, Speedball just kicking people's heads off, doing like all kind of things. Beast Mortos showing out as well, kind of being the power of the match. Nick Wayne showing out. Jack Perry, again, kind of being the veteran of the match, or at least the AEW veteran, as a day one guy. Commander, like it's just all the pieces to create an incredible ladder match, an incredible spectacle. Car crash, high spot fest, great way to open the match. Great way to open the show. And in the end, of course, like I said, Speedball Mike Bailey does get the win. Hometown pop. He gets an international title shot against, spoiler alert, Kyle Fletcher. And that will be at Grand Slam Mexico in 2 weeks. So I anticipate Kyle taking that dub there because I don't see him losing it. I see him going into All In with the title. Potentially against Hangman, maybe. Because you got to do something big for Hangman. You got to do something big for Swerve. I don't know if those are title matches. Swerve's going to come back and probably make his intentions known very soon for All In. Kind of the same with Hangman. Hangman has shown up, and we haven't seen him since. But I'm sure he'll be back in the picture soon. Next up, again, we're coming out the gate hard and fast. We get the Young Bucks taking on Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley. Again, randomly booked show. Because where did this match come from? I don't know. Had no idea for real. It wasn't like there was a huge story behind it, but all right, cool. I thought that maybe it was officially kind of like for the #1 contendership. Again, I didn't make a prediction here because this definitely was tough to predict. For the simple fact, like I said, they never really outright said it was for the #1 contendership for the tag team titles. But knowing that the Bucks, they've been teasing the Bucks being in tag team title contention for a minute now. So it seems that that's the trajectory they're on, and they're going to get the Bucks and Cope versus Cope and Cage. So if that's what we're doing for All In, because that makes sense, they should win. But Will Ospreay is on his way to All In as well, and it's kind of important to keep his momentum. So maybe they need to win to keep that Moxley and Will Ospreay momentum going. So it's more just like, what is the story we're trying to tell here? What are we trying to get to here? So I really didn't know how to predict this one. Leading up, we did kind of get a little bit of stuff between the Bucks and the Death Riders and Ospreay and whatever, with them getting involved in the tag match with Kenny Omega. We're not getting involved, but it's kind of a skirmish between Mox and Kenny Omega. The Bucks come out for the save. Will Ospreay feel like he has to save. So there's just a lot of moving pieces there. And Will Ospreay seemed very, very dialed in. On the Collision, again, another little skirmish, and Will Ospreay clobbers. It must have been Matt, but it would have made sense if it was Nick, considering how this match went. But out of nowhere, clobbers one of the Young Bucks with the hidden blade on Collision. But he looks a little concerned, a little, should I have done that? What am I doing? Who am I? Is this Will Ospreay that I want to be? And maybe almost regret, or at least concern. So going into this match, for the first time, Will Ospreay actually comes out with Mox from the back in the way that the Death Riders usually do, rather than his usual entrance. Again, telling the story of him being bought in to the Death Rider thing. Then before I even get into this match, because the first thing I thought when I watched this was, for everyone that says, oh, AEW, don't tell any stories, why should I care? This was a storytelling match through and through. And this is, when you say that, it's so silly. The storytelling happens in the ring. It happens elsewhere as well, but it happens in the ring. And this was a storytelling match. Listen, so at some point earlier in the match, Nick Jackson and Will Ospreay collide. They clock heads, and Nick's kind of loopy for the rest of the match. He kind of comes in, he has his spurts, but you can tell he's kind of loopy. He's kind of knocked his block off a little bit. Now, key thing from, I think, Dynamite is, and this may have been this week or it may have been a couple of weeks ago, where Mox told Will Ospreay, hey, we're almost there. Thing you need to know is you pull the trigger no matter who the target is. You pull the trigger. That's going to come back into play. He also told Kenny Omega, some people just are who they are, no matter how much they try to change. Again, will come back into play. It's fantastic. So the match is going. Nick's loopy, still hanging in there. It's looking bad for the Bucks. Will Ospreay tries not to go for Nick Jackson's head once he realizes he's kind of out of it. So he's going for body shots. Nick's going for the head. Ospreay's going body shots. Eventually, nails him with a forearm. Nails him with another one. He's down and out. Mox is telling him, finish the job, pull the trigger. Ospreay is hesitant again. He's like, well, wait a minute now. I'm not gonna do that. Like he hurt. Okay. Mox is like, what the hell? Tags himself in. He's going after Nick. Boom, boom. Nailing down on the back of his head. Mox goes to grab a chair. Ospreay goes snatch the chair from, hey, we're not doing this. No, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't what I signed up for. Matt super kicks the chair to his face, knocks him out. Mox ends up taking BTE trigger, kicks out defiantly before a super kick party puts him down. 1, 2, 3, Bucks get the win. Story is fantastic. Mox is like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Now, few match segments later, Renee's interviewing Will Ospreay. Again, another segment that so good. Will Ospreay's in the back. He's like, I definitely could tell he was hurt. Nick was hurt. He has a history of neurological, of head trauma. So, but here comes Mox. And Mox is like, yo, what was that? What's up with it? Ospreay, hey, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not trying to kill anybody. There's no stakes. There's no reason to, to do it. I didn't sign up for that. Mox is like, hey, he got a history of head trauma. Well, that's wrestling. It's not ballet. You have to pull the trigger, no matter who's the target. You are there. There were no stakes in this match, so that doesn't matter. But what happens at Wembley? Because you're almost there. You can't be everybody's friend. And I don't want to be there when you learn that lesson. So if you won't pull the trigger, I will. What does that mean? It's ominous, right? All right. So that's that. Moving on. This show was good. For this thread, show was great. Moving on. Next we get Kyle Fletcher and Bandito for the international title. These men are sick. There are things that happen in this match that are like, what is wrong with you? In particular, there's one spot where Bandito hits a frog splash off the top rope to Kyle Fletcher, who's on the floor. And I watched this spot thinking, because floor spots, people usually hit them a little different. He hit full contact, no bracing, no, just straight up body to body frog splash on the floor. Maybe one of the sickest splashes I've ever seen in my life. Cause it just looked like he cracked all his ribs. They put on a masterclass. Bandito hit like this 21 Dragonplex. What the hell? And I want to say maybe he hit maybe 2 more 21 plexes. Still couldn't put Kyle away. Kyle ultimately hits him with the top rope brainbuster. Kyle Fletcher continues to be both, really. It's like there's some people who the combination, you just know. That's the thing with AEW. You just put 2 people in the ring together and it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a banger. Because what else could it be? It's gonna be a banger. Duh, it's a banger. Because this was a banger. You put Bandito, you put Kyle Fletcher in a match together, and it's gonna be a banger. They're gonna do the things that they're gonna do, especially on the pay-per-view. This was wild. Speedball and Kyle Fletcher, they already have twice going against each other, and both times were incredible matches. Kyle Fletcher's running a string of like bangers. He's in that range there. He's in the Kenny Omega, the Will Ospreay range, and so is Bandito actually. So definitely knew that was going to be another amazing match, and it absolutely delivered. So many, and then they're not just flippy matches. They're not just like they're this hard hitting, almost violently, with the flip he kind of added in from Bandito, but it's just a violence. Like Kyle Fletcher wrestles with like a violence that sometimes, like Will Ospreay is kind of flippy. Kenny Omega is like this technically sound machine, right? Kyle Fletcher wrestles with like this violence, this violent urgency. And that's why his matches usually hit the way they do. Very cocky to begin until Bandito took him to the limit. It took a top rope brainbuster, which literally hit like the top rope, not the turnbuckle, to put him down. 1, 2, 3. Kyle Fletcher retains. Again, another banger for both Kyle Fletcher and Bandito. I'm not sure what. Bandito's in a really weird space because he wins a lot with the Brodito. He won't win the big win in AEW, and that's always an interesting thing there. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with him in a long run sense. I guess that kind of remains to be seen. But he's giving them bangers thus far, so there's that. I want to see something real quick. Okay, just wanted to make sure we were still good. So, next up we had the Dogs and the Bang Bang Gang in a double chain tag team match. This was brutal and a lot of creative spots for a double chain match. There's just a lot of creative stuff here. That wouldn't say that I kind of expected them to do. Wasn't as violent, which I guess makes a lot of sense with some of the stuff that was coming up next. But it wasn't like entirely violent. It was brutal from the standpoint of there being a chain and a lot of choking spots, a lot of whipping with the chain spots, of course. It came into play a lot it built into the psychology of the match. I don't know how invested people are in the dogs yet, but they do seem to have big plans for them because they've given them a lot of high-profile spots. So, Bang Bang Gang seems to be on the path to the victory, to the dub, until, for the first time tonight, keep that in mind, for the first time tonight, we get Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia coming out, attacking the Bang Bang Gang. Out comes the Guns, and Ace Austin to take them out. Marina slides out of nowhere, gives David Finlay the shillelagh. He nails Juice, gets the 1-2-3 dogs win. Didn't see that coming. That's another one I would have picked wrong. Because I definitely would have probably given the Bucks. I don't know how we would have got there with the Bucks to Cage and Cope, but I definitely would have gave that to Ospreay and Mox. Kyle Fletcher I would definitely would have picked. Speedball I probably would have picked wrong. And definitely would have picked Bang Bang Gang over the dogs, because kind of why not, right? Moving on, another match that I definitely would have picked wrong. We had for the TBS Championship, Hikaru Shida taking on Maya World. Again, random. Should have probably been a collision match. I think that's the thing with a lot of these matches on this card. Sometimes you'll hear people say like, this could have been a collision match, or it could have been a Dynamite match. Could have been a Dynamite main event or a collision main event. Theoretically, this could have been. I mean, all intents and purposes. When they first were given the package, I just thought it was a collision match. Because I think they announced it on Dynamite. It's like, oh, okay. So they're going to do Shida, Maya World for the TBS title on Collision. And it's like, no, this is at Redemption. I'm like, oh, that's... Wasn't a long-standing issue. It was like Shida was attacking, I think, Aminata. Maya World makes the save. Now we got a pay-per-view match. All right, cool. This match really highlighted Shida kind of as the ace, but also being a little full of herself, a little overconfident, a little arrogant, taking Maya World for, as a rookie, as a nobody who, isn't on the level of the ace. Which makes sense. No matter what though, Shida isn't able to put Maya away, giving it her all until, and then she just hits her with like the knee strike. She hits her with one, she hits her with another, she hits her with another. Hits her with a Falcon Arrow. And it's like, okay, well, she's definitely putting her down. I actually forget what exactly it was that led to it. But ultimately, Maya World gets a second opportunity, hits her with like that bridging fall-away slam thing she does. 1, 2, 3. Maya World is your new TBS champion. Amazing couple of months, really, for Maya. From Double or Nothing to now, she has absolutely entered this, like, out of nowhere. And I know we're probably past talking about this, but seriously, every single time I see them do something with Maya World, I am proud, I am happy, I am ecstatic to see. especially another black woman hold or being built up. There actually aren't a lot in AEW. Like Athena's over on Ring of Honor doing her thing over there. Amanada just kind of, she's due for something eventually. Probably should have been due for something before Maya, but go figure. Willow, of course, we'll talk about her a little later. Absolutely. Mercedes, of course. So we got black women there who are doing their thing. Most of them, oddly enough, the TBS championship, more of them held that probably than anything else. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. So always happy to see them building up another black woman, and really just the story of Maya really, sells it. But whenever she gets something, when she was in the Owen and she gets into the finals, and any of those tag matches with Divine Dominion, and I think was she in the main event with like her and Hyon taking on with Willow taking on Divine Dominion and Mercedes, main event spot. And all I keep thinking every single time, I have to shake my head, because Tegan Knox, Nixon Newell, it could have been you. It could have been you. All of these spots for Maya could have been you. Fumble of the there may not be a bigger fumble than them refusing to do this quick job on Collision. The domino effect of that decision to Maya World now being the TBS championship, you cannot ignore it. I'm sorry, you cannot ignore. This happened because Nixon Newell and her boo, whose name I can't even remember right now, decided no, we on 3 minutes on Collision, that's not enough time. And Maya World and High said, we'll do it. And now look. You take the opportunities that you're given when they get. Listen, I know I said this before when it first happened. As a performer, anytime I was booked somewhere or there was an opportunity to do a show, I never was like, how much time do I get or how many songs do I get to do? If I asked, I was asked just for my own sake. But I never was like, one song? I can't do nothing with one song. 5 minutes? I can't do nothing. Well, I don't have, that's not enough time for me. Hey, you kill it with what you're given. Maya World is the perfect example. So congrats to Maya World. Nixon, hi, wherever you are, doing whatever you're doing. I think they just got engaged, so there's that. Congratulations. But you're not on TV. Boop. Moving on. Congratulations to Maya World as well. Next, we had Cage and Cope taking on Death Riders, Claudio and Pac, for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Again, random. Because what? Why? It actually kind of makes sense. They kind of been building this a little bit, where the Death Riders helped the Dogs jump the Bang Bang Gang and Cope. And then out of that, we got Cage and Cope taking on Yuta and Daniel Garcia, which then led us, for some reason, into Cajun Cope against Pac and Claudio. Again, random. This was a very randomly booked pay-per-view. That being said, really great match. Cajun Cope, this new iteration, this older iteration of them not being like the risk takers that they used to be, and but they're a different thing now. And Christian is such an underrated part of this, because him wrestling as a babyface, but still like with the heel demeanor, is this very strange juxtaposition that works so well for that tag team. He's kind of like the ace of the team. When I think of the dynamic of those matches, a lot of times, like, he has the little arm injury thing, but like, I think kind of the hot tag goes to Christian, I feel like, a lot of times. Claudio and Pac had a really good divide and conquer kind of strategy. Heavy on the Death Rider kind of thing that they do. But in the end, Cajun Cope get the win in a, again, really good match. Really good match. Very interesting to look at that and think, like, all four of these guys were in WWE at one point. And this is the only match on the card that I can think of that was that way. Which isn't a bad thing. Because they are that. But I don't know if you look at them and think of them as WWE guys. Claudio and Pac have both been in AEW long enough to have kind of erased any thoughts of them as WWE guys. Now, Cope and Christian, not. But because it's still kind of weird sometimes to see Cope in AEW. Christian, I think, kind of, you get it, because he was in TNA for that period of time too. So it's like, okay, to see them, after years after you thought their careers were over, in AEW is wild. Quick little thing that I like, since he started teaming back up with Christian, Cope has been wearing the style of tights that he wore when they were Edge and Christian, because that changed a little bit over time, especially once he became a rated R superstar. They kind of had the rated R stuff on there, but the style of tights that he wore, really when he started up until he kind of went solo again after Edge and Christian. He's wearing that again, but now he has Cope on it. Nice little detail that I like. I'm a gear guy, so it's to me. Moving along. Next up, no holds barred match. We have Tommaso Ciampa taking on the Painmaker, Chris Jericho. I guess I did. I didn't know what Painmaker was going to do, but I figured. This was the hardcore match that I thought that the Dog Chamber match probably would have ended up being, but I guess not. They tamed that one down for this, which makes sense. This was brutal and violent and funny and silly, all the things that you expect from like a Chris Jericho hardcore match. And Ciampa as well has his way of doing that type of thing. Jericho brought in some very interesting things here. He first had a bag with sand in it. The sand comes into play because of the beach break match. He brought in a bag full of thumbtacked hockey pucks. That sounds horrendous. when you think about taking like a bump on it. He had a barbed wire table. He brought 2 mirrors. And the finish came when the power drill that Ciampa keeps trying to introduce was once used on him. Yes, Tommaso Ciampa got drilled in the head. It's a very safe spot. You can't really see nothing, but interesting. I thought, because I think one of the last times we saw the Painmaker, even though it was years ago, and I don't think they would reference it because I guess it was kind of controversial. There should have been a pizza cutter. It was also like sandpaper. He had like a sandpaper thing and like scrubbed Ciampa's face. This was, you know, I watched this match and I was posting in my little Facebook group, and I saw this. And I was like, you know, I know Mox is somewhere watching this, just peeved, just jealous and peeved, and talking to TK like, hey, I ain't did no hardcore shit in about a year, man. I need to do some crazy shit, man. The hell? That ain't even true because he did some stuff with Darby, but look at that. Hey man, you got any more of them no DQ, no hold barred matches? I need one, baby. Come on, no, don't do me like that now, baby. Come on now. Mox is itching to get into one of those. Like, oh, Jericho can do that. Why can't I? He in my bag. He's in my bag. You know what this match needs? A fork. That's what's missing, a fork. Yeesh. So, big win for Jericho. Ciampa got a big win over Jericho. I don't know if this leads him out of the Jericho vortex. We'll see. This could be done. It may not be. This could be done, and it wouldn't be a problem. Next up, for the national championship, which I guarantee is probably the highest placement on a card that the national championship has ever gotten. Andrade El Idolo taking on Mark Davis of the Don Callis family. Definitely would have picked this one, right? Because I figure of all the titles that may have changed hands, this was one of the two that I anticipated probably could and would. And the one that I almost was the most sure of. Andrade comes out, special entrance, new theme, which wasn't anything wrong with the first one, but new joint, not mad at it. It's pretty decent. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. It fits him a little better. It fits what he's doing now a little better. Puts on a showing, comes out the gate with that one of my favorite moves in wrestling. And this is why I always kind of appreciate Andrade matches. That like feint elbow strike, like that feint kick into the elbow thing that he does. I think it's a Dios Mortos or something like that. I think what they call it now. It's one of my favorite moves in wrestling. Like, and he hits it with such a snap. Like, oh, I love to see it. I love it. One of my favorite moves in wrestling. Especially when he hits it flush. Because sometimes he hits it with so much momentum that he kind of falls into it. But like, when he hits it flush, perfect. Starts the match out with that. Still a good showing by Mark Davis. Him and his like pull-up pile drivers and that type of, the way he hits his pile drivers are next level. Very creative ways that I hadn't seen people actually do that type of thing. Like kind of just pick you up and just drop you into it or pull you up into it. Ways I've never seen pile drivers hitting. Very funny to be in that space when for so long pile drivers were banned in wrestling, basically. Like here in Memphis, it was banned. It was illegal, which made whenever Jerry Lawler hit it that much more dastardly or that much more serious. WWE, they banned them as well, for real, basically. So to see them used so openly and freely, I think is just an interesting change of pace from what we're used to. In the end, of course, Andrade gets the win. He is your new international champion. Love to see it. Good on him for that. He had a really long celebration for some reason. Not sure why. He was overdue a title. His first title in AEW. I can say Andrade has been made a bigger deal in AEW, especially this go around, than he has at any point anywhere else except for NXT. On main roster, on both stints on the main roster, they didn't do anything with him for real. The first AEW run, they didn't do that much with him. They hadn't figured him out. This go around, his character is on point. The how you know thing is over, like Rover. And now he's your new national champion, and I'm sure this is not the last championship he will win. I feel like probably the lowest on the totem pole, but definitely could see him in another title match at some point. There's an MJF match waiting on him. Maybe not for All In, but it's coming because he's still carrying around MJF's ring. So whenever MJF returns, it's probably coming after Andrade sooner than later because he wants his ring back, I'm sure. I don't know if he's going to be back for All In. That would be a good match for Andrade for All In because that feud's kind of been building. But if Max is out for the time being, probably not going to happen. So go figure. Next up, another one that for the women's championship, Willow Nightingale taking on Tekla. So, here's the thing. Tekla, Mercedes. There could be something there, but they're both very heel. And you're not going to turn either of them babyface-ish in London. There's nothing there for either one, right? So it's like, will we do that? That always seemed strange to me, which is why it was so strange. Even when it was the Owen and Mercedes win, well, they make more sense for Maya to win because Tekla's a heel, and Mercedes is definitely a heel. There's no reason to do a heel versus heel matches. Don't technically work, especially in those big shows. Those don't really work like a babyface versus babyface match would. And the type of heels they are, you don't see it like, oh, well, they're gonna have a redemption. No, you don't see that happening. So once Mercedes won the Owen, it's like, okay, so all right. Because I see Mercedes winning that All In. So, all right, then. Because you're not going to lose 2 years in a row. However, then this match was made. Willow comes back, wins the gauntlet match. She has the match with Tekla. And I thought, again, I still hang my hat on, even though they've kind of teased it a little bit with Tekla and Mercedes. I still don't see that being the way they're going to do it. Because, again, Tekla's kind of getting over a little bit in a babyface-ish kind of way, but still a heel. So I don't see how that match works. But you know what I would love to see? Willow Mercedes, again, give me that. Because every time they've had a match, it's been great. And having that match for the women's title, even greater. She basically kicked Tekla's ass through a lot of this match. I'm gonna be honest. It feels kind of, in my mind, it feels kind of one side. I know Tekla had like some really good comebacks, and she had her fair share of high spots and hope spots throughout the match, but it feels like Willow really just kicked her ass through the majority of the match. Sky Blue comes out after, I think, Willow hit the power bomb, the babe with the power. Sky Blue comes out, puts Tekla's leg on the bottom rope. Willow gives chase, gives Sky Blue a powerbomb on the floor that looked sick as well. But the way wrestling works, this distraction is how she loses. She gets into the ring, Tekla hits a spear. 1, 2, Willow kicks out. Tekla hits a stomp. Tekla hits a stomp on her. Willow answers essentially with the babe with the power again. No, she doesn't. She hits her with her with the backslide that she actually has won a lot of matches with, oddly enough. And again, she wins. Again, Willow is your new AEW Women's Championship, and at All In we are getting Willow and Mercedes. And my pick has changed a little, because I don't believe that Willow is a transitional champion. I believe Willow beats Mercedes at All In. I do. I think by the time Mercedes wins the women's, and I could be wrong here, I've long said that Mercedes will be a babyface when she wins the title. Because I think there's a redemption arc in there that has to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. The fact that she's still holding on to the Owen belt means she's still in that belt collector mindset. So the redemption thing that was supposed to happen hadn't happened yet. So I think Willow beats Mercedes. And it's not until Mercedes comes as a babyface that she will eventually win the AEW Women's Championship. I could be wrong. That's my long-term pick. So we have also left out, after Copeland Cage versus Death Riders, we get the Young Bucks coming out, and on the large screen on the Jumbotron, we get the graphic. It's official, Cage and Cope versus the Bucks at All In. So just off what we got. So we got Ospreay Omega, Bucks versus CNC, and now Mercedes versus Willow. Worth the price of admission already. Whatever you do with the rest of this card, I know it's going to be... Again, they've delivered it every pay-per-view this year, like they typically always do. So you just know whatever they come up with is going to be fantastic. So I can't wait. I actually would love to go to All In, especially in London. A wrestling show in London is still on my bucket list, or my bingo card. I actually do have a bingo card of wrestling things to accomplish. So a wrestling show in London is definitely there. I did Mexico. So that leads us. So again, Willow, your new women's champion, heading into All In as champion. Like I said, I don't think she will be a transitional champion. And this also gives Willow several other notes in the record book. I was thinking this as this match was happening. I'm like, whenever she wins the women's champion, the world championship, she will be the first Triple Crown. But I actually, at some point in this match, didn't think she was winning. Because when I was saying that, I was thinking like, but they'll probably get at the Stat first. Because Stat needs to win the tag titles before, and I can see her probably winning those before Willow wins the world title. I was wrong. So Willow is officially your first women's Triple Crown Grand Slam champion in AEW. She is also, let me run this in my brain right. You could say she's the first black woman to hold the AEW World Women's title. But what does it say about Nyla Rose? Because I guess Nyla's considered black. Maybe? I don't know about Nyla. Nyla might be considered black. And if she is, then it's not the case. I'm trying to think who else has even been. Paige, Toni Storm, Mariah May, Stat, Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Rio, Sheeta, Paige, Saraya, Jamie Hayter. So with the exception of maybe Nyla Rose, Willow would be the first black women's champion in AEW. First Triple Crown. Definitely that. Added to the already the accolades of pinning, being the one half of the first AEW Tag Team Champions. They're big. Hey, even if Willow's a transitional champion here, there is another championship in her future that will 100%, because she's absolutely due to be the champion solidified for a decent period of time. In the wake of no Toni Storm, Willow as champion is absolutely, I think, your next big baby face, because she's already there. So her as your next big baby face is absolutely the move to go. Very proud to see that. And for the first time, definitely, even if that wasn't the thing with Nyla. You have a black TBS and a black world women's champion. You can't write a better story than that. I love to see it. That brings us to our main event. Man, Jet has a new theme. He came out in this bubble vest, and I don't know why that was a choice, but Jet has a new theme. Great showing in this match. Him as a heel has been I'm sorry, I didn't even say what the match was. Kenny Omega versus the Jet Kevin Knight for the World Championship. Like I said, great showing by Jet. Showing why I think that heel turn is the best thing that has happened to him in his career. Absolutely 100%. He has found something that I didn't see in him as a babyface. In aggression, his work is better. I know they always say it's easier to work as a heel, but like, it seems so natural for him. I saw somebody also say like they see the swerve in him a little bit. You can kind of tell Swerve's been working with him. I don't know about that. However, maybe. I can definitely see some big things for Jet in the future, as heel or babyface. Because he absolutely held his own with Kenny in the main event, first main event shot like this. Kind of the same thing they did with Hangman and Kyle Fletcher. And Kyle Fletcher, you see the trajectory he's on. I think Kevin Knight's on the same kind of trajectory as Kyle Fletcher. And I think that match is happening maybe sooner than later. That's another one of those cracks in the Don Callis family that is eventually going to happen. They are definitely not. I mean, there's several cracks there. There's that. There's Okada and Kyle. That's a crack. He has too many alphas, and all those alphas are not going to be able to exist. So, not sure who stays in the end, but look for that to be a thing. But again, great showing for both. Kevin, bigger showing I think for Kevin because it's his first main event and it's against Kenny Omega. World Championship match, first main event on the pay-per-view. So they clearly have high hopes for him. I think that's a good indicator of things to come for Kevin Knight. Kenny, of course, first defense of the title. Cool. It's after the match where business really picks up. And it's such an emotional roller coaster. It's such a roller coaster. They don't tell stories. You sons of bitches don't know what you are talking about. This thread has been thread throughout this entire show. They don't even do that anymore. WWE doesn't even do that anymore for real. Anyway. So, after the match, out come the Death Riders to attack Kenny Omega. The Bucks are coming out. They're trying to help out. They get dispatched very quickly. Claudio puts the chair on Kenny's neck. They're going to do the same thing to Kenny that they did to Will Ospreay. That brings out Ospreay. And he's standing over Kenny like, hey, no, I didn't sign up for this. We don't have to do this. This is not the way. No, 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 no. Now, this harkens back because remember, Moxley said, if you won't pull the trigger, I will. This is the trigger being pulled. Because now, Moxley gets in the ring. Will Ospreay takes the chair. He's holding off the Death Riders. He's kind of pushed everybody out, attacked everybody. He's holding off the Death Riders. Mox comes in. Mox says, hey, it's me. Hey, no, it's cool. Give me the chair. No, it's cool. It's cool. Just give me the chair. Ospreay gives him the chair. Mox throws it out of the ring. And then Mox pulls out the plastic bag. And we all know the historical significance of the plastic bag. He gives it to Ospreay. Do the thing. So he's standing there with it, and he's contemplating, and he's thinking. He's motioning towards Kenny a little bit, and you see the hesitation. Finally, tears the bag in half. I'm not going to do it. Gets in Mox's face. I'm not going to do this. Lays Mox out. Death Riders come in. Dispatches of them. Nails Pack with the hidden blade. Death Riders make a retreat. Mox is like, after everything I've done for you. Cinema. Ospreay sees the title. Goes to grab the title, hands it to Kenny. There's a bit of a tug there. He looks at Kenny, he says, hey, from here on out, Kenny has the plastic bag. He's like, I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do it. No. From here on out, it's all about this title. It's me and you about this title. Cool. Shake hands. Show's going off. They are, they're waving to the fans. They're on one turn. Kenny's on one turnbuckle. Will Ospreay's on the other, waving to the fans. They switch. Will goes to the other turnbuckle. Kenny's at this one. We're zoomed in on Will on the turnbuckle, waving to the fans, and out of nowhere, Kenny drops Will with a one-winged angel. Now, I don't think this was a heel turn. I've seen people say this was a heel turn. I don't think this was a heel turn, per se. Because he was very adamant after he did that to tell the trainers to go check on him. He kept talking to him. Hey. He had the bag in his hand. He's like, hey, why would you even think of doing it? You know, whatever. So, I actually don't believe this was a heel turn in the way that we think it would be a heel turn. I think this is just, you're damn right it's about the title, me and you. And it's up. Now, the beauty in this is that Mox is still right. He literally just said, you can't be everybody's friend. And I don't want to be there when you learn that lesson. And he just learned the lesson. Tell me AEW doesn't tell stories again if you want to. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. They do not do that anymore in wrestling. That was beautiful. And this was like, I don't want to call it a throwaway pay-per-view, but like, again, the most randomly booked pay-per-view I have seen in a while. We're probably going to cover another one with SummerSlam because that feels random too, but whatever. What can you say? What can you say? Hey, SummerSlam is this coming weekend. I don't think either night will top what we just saw in Redemption, and that may be the lower of the ones they've had this year. But the storyline thread that now pushes us towards All In has just picked up. Hell of a show. Hell of a show. Hell of a show. Hell of a show. The more I talked about it, the more I liked it. That's wild. But that absolutely happened. The more I talked about it, I'm like, you know what? This was a really good show. This was really great. This was really great. It's a really great show. And then we're on the Dynamite. I probably will not cover Dynamite on Saturday for episode 50. But maybe I will. Who knows? We'll talk. We'll see. I don't know what to expect for Saturday, you know? So, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm going to get out of here because actually, I got to go to work. So, all that's being said, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Talmbout Rasslin. Again, if you're new here, if you watch my Redemption review, make sure you hit that like, make sure you share it with somebody. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 50 subscribers. And make sure you tune in this Saturday at noon Central. For episode 50. We have reached 50 episodes. Can you believe it? I cannot, because what the hell? 50 episodes of Talmbout Rasslin. You're going to see this all over the place. I'm posting everywhere all week long. I want as many people that can tune in as possible. We're going to cover SummerSlam. I'm going to give my predictions, at least for night one, maybe for the whole card. We'll see. And it's going to be a great time. 50 episodes, August the 1st. Very special day for me for a lot of different reasons. So again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all that you have done leading me to these 50 episodes. I greatly appreciate it. All In is on the way. I'm excited. The 3 matches we've already got announced, I am excited. So, that being said, thank you for tuning in. This has been Talmbout Rasslin. I am your host, the untouchable J.R. Atkins. And until next time, we are out.